Hey, let's go to apparently the new rival of UCF. I don't know if you've seen this news that they are going to make this the space themed game most years when they play and potentially be a permanent rival in the Big 12. It's the Houston Cougars. 4-8 and 3-6 in the league last year in Willie Fritz's first season down there in Houston. They got maybe the biggest transfer pickup in the entire conference when you think about an individual player and the ceiling that he has in quarterback Connor Wegman. Obviously didn't hit that ceiling consistency, wasn't on the field enough to really live up to his 5-star billing at Texas A&M, but he'll have one more chance to do that. They also picked up Dean Connors from Rice. I think that's a really interesting running back pickup. Mm-hmm. The defense was honestly the strength of the team last year, not something that we come to expect from Houston, but they kept them in a lot of ball games. They played a lot of close games. They picked off TCU last year in a really surprising game that kind of set the Horned Frogs scrambling in the early part of that season. But as you look at year two, Willie Fritz has often made a pretty big jump at previous stops in year two. And I think this might be a team that you could buy low on and have a really big payoff.
Yeah, this is the team that when we have fans ask, who is your Arizona State or who's your Indiana this year, I don't think that there's going to be one team necessarily that pulls off an 11-1 like Indiana did last year, or a run to the Big 12 title like Arizona State did, worst to first. But Houston might be as close to projecting that as you can get, because they were dreadful on offense last year, 132nd in the country in scoring. They averaged 14 points a game. They had no quarterback. The running game was not good enough to push them over the hump, barely 90th in the country, and then the passing game just had nothing going for it. And so Willie Fritz did hit the portal this year, and he hit it hard, brought in a lot of Texas kids back to H-Town. He brought a lot of Louisiana kids down to Southeast Texas as well. And that's where Fritz has made his name, right? Like, that's where he has so many ties over the course of his illustrious coaching career. And it's what really helped him with Tulane. He was able to bring hometown kids back to New Orleans if they left, or keep them at home to start the proceedings. So I think he's going to be able to do the same with Houston. You mentioned what he went out and did in the portal. Connor Wegman, he brought in a number of new wide receiver and tight end options. Harvey Broussard comes over from Louisiana. Tanner Koziel transferred from Ball State to Wisconsin and then hit the portal again, and now is playing at Houston. That is going to be a massive weapon for Connor Wegman and this offense. You mentioned Dean Connors, really good running back at Rice. I'm excited to see how high he can fly behind an offensive line that's been reloaded. Another big addition to the portal. They went out and they got a new left guard, a new right guard, and a right tackle from Oklahoma State, California, and Texas Tech. And then you add their top two leading receivers from last year, and Stephon Johnson and Mekhi Muse are also both back. So to say that the offense is primed for, I think, a massive jump would be an understatement. And then you flip it over to the defense, and they pulled off a coup, getting Austin Armstrong to leave Florida to come to Houston. I think it speaks volumes of what Willie Fritz is building as far as a culture and a selling point for this Houston program. And, they did lose A.J. Halsey, who bolted for the portal, stud safety, who's now an LSU Tiger. But the guys that they brought in the secondary to try and to fill that void, Rook Brown from Wyoming, they brought in Blake Thompson from Louisiana Tech, Kentrell Webb and Latrell McCutcheon Jr. are both back, safety and cornerback respectively there. And then off the edge, Brandon Mack II is the big name to know. I was chuckling to myself earlier. I am now in Houston in my college football 26 dynasty file, and Brandon Mack transferred from Houston to Rice, kind of pulled the reverse Dean Connors. Didn't understand that at all, but the point is, the kid is a verified talent. Had 3 sacks from the jack position at linebacker last year. I look forward to seeing how Armstrong kind of turns him loose off the edge this season. And, they get Jesus Machado and Corey Platt Jr., 2 presumed starters at linebacker last year, but lost during the season due to injury, or lost most of the season due to injury. They're both back and healthy. So I think that as good of a job at reloading in the secondary as could have been done has been done by this coaching staff. And then I really like the front seven. So the roster is certainly trending in the right direction for me, and I really like what Houston is putting together.
Yeah, you mentioned Austin Armstrong. They also bring in Slade Nagel, who was Willie Fritz's offensive coordinator at Tulane for those better years that he had there. So uh, all signs are pointing up on that side of the ball after being so bad last year. Do you think Connor Wegman has it in him, though? Like, is he going to be able to? Maybe the pressure's off a little bit because he's at Houston, not Texas A&M. Maybe it's an offense that better fits his skill set than what Colin Klein was trying to run in College Station. Do you think he has it in him that he can really lead a team and get himself back in the conversation for the NFL draft next year?
It's a great question. I mean, gosh, we've seen the flashes. We've seen Connor be able to get the ball out quickly and on time and then hit you over the top as well, especially when the running game is going strong. So I do think it's in there. I wonder what it's going to take to unlock that again. For whatever reason, we have seen quarterbacks leave College Station and go on to have productive careers elsewhere. And so, I mean, at the very least, Wegman's got that going for him. I do like the offensive line that's been rebuilt in front of him. And quite frankly, Wegman's a guy that needs the timing and that synergy between he and the wide receivers, and it just never felt like he had that at any point last season. Back to 23, when there's a little bit more speed in that wide receiver room, it felt like he had developed some of that. And for just whatever reason, he lost that. It was very clear early on he was seeing ghosts, especially against Notre Dame. And then, he has the breakthrough against Missouri, and it's, oh my gosh, here's the Heisman Connor Wegman we've been waiting for. And then LSU had him in proverbial knots again. So long-winded way to say I don't know. I really hope so, because boy, this Houston offense is going to be a blast to watch if Weggy's feeling it.
Yeah, I hope so for the kid too. He just seems by all accounts to be a really good kid who stayed at A&M through a coaching change, really has worked through so many injuries, so many setbacks in his career. For somebody so talented, that's so difficult. And I really want to see him end his career on a high note. Transitioning over to the schedule, I think there's a big opportunity in front of them to start the season. It's SFA at Rice, and then back-to-back games that I think if you win them, there's going to start to be a lot of buzz around this Houston program, and it might even get you in the top 25 before you host Texas Tech to kick off October. They host Colorado on September 12th. They have a bye week, and then they go to Corvallis to take on Oregon State, who there's a lot up in the air about that Beaver program right now, but still carries a name cachet that if they can win that game on the road, it's going to carry waves throughout the rest of the schedule. I think they can start 4-0, Mitch. I'm not all in on Colorado this year. They're going through a lot of turnover. They get that game at home on a Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big, big opportunity. If they can start 4-0, there's going to start to be a lot of belief in that locker room.
I'm with you. They've got to make their hay early if they're going to make a bowl game. The over-under is set at 5.5. That has actually come down from 6.5. It started, I believe, at 4.5. When the season ended, we got those way too early projections. They started dominating the portal. It shot up to 6.5, and then now I believe the underbettors have it. Is confirmed on your graphic. They've moved that line back to 5.5. So the question again is whether or not Houston can get to a bowl game. I think they can. This is a team that personally I have them much higher. I don't know about much higher, but closer to the top 10 than 15th. I do not believe this is the second worst team in the conference. I think, questions about Colorado certainly abound. Questions about Oregon State abound. I think Rice is going to be a fun watch this year, a quirky watch with Scott Abel running that shotgun triple option. But Houston should be 4-0, in my opinion, going into that game against Texas Tech. After that, though, the schedule is kind of gross. They have Tech road trips to Oklahoma State, Arizona State, UCF, and Baylor throughout the course of the season. They'll host Arizona, West Virginia, and TCU. So they've got to make that hay early, right? You're probably going to lose to teams like Texas Tech and Arizona State and TCU and Baylor, probably, even though I know you beat TCU last year. But the question is, if you can start 4-0, then I think we're approaching that, hey, why not 7-8 wins for this Cougar team? If you do lose to Colorado and or Oregon State, then it's clinch time. Then you're starting to wonder, okay, where are these wins coming from? And, the hard part about projecting the Big 12 this year is we're going to talk like Oklahoma State next. who the heck knows
what
Oklahoma State is going to look like, right? I mean, that was a historically bad Cowboys team under Mike Gundy. They might be right back there in the cellar. They might kind of progress back to the mean and get some sense of normalcy. And so when it comes to, projecting games like that on the schedule, West Virginia is the same deal. It's like there's kind of too many variables to know what's going to happen for sure as we sit here in July. So very much a watch this space. I think if you're so inclined to go put hard-earned American currency on this on your, wagering platform of choice, just know that you are assuming all the things by betting the over or the under on a bet like this.
Yeah, I mean, you got to at least split those two I highlighted earlier at the top, right? Colorado and at Oregon State. Got to find a way to at least split. You'd love to go 2-0 in those two games. If you do split, you're at 3-1, presumably. You've got a home game against Arizona, a home game against West Virginia, who's probably in a similar tier as you. And then you've either got to knock off TCU at home or find a way to win a road game to get to that 6 wins. So I certainly think it's possible. I think they've got the talent to do it. I think that this program is one that I want to buy stock in right now while it's still a little bit low, because I think Willie Fritz is a great coach, and Houston has always been a program that is surrounded by talent and can get guys in to win. If they can start just winning a few recruiting battles and get some NIL moving that like they have on their basketball team, it's going to be something where we see this program really take off. So buy stock now. It might hit this year, it might hit in the next couple of years, but I think it will certainly hit at some point.